to Beast TV. What was that? You better get a fresh dip and buckle up. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Larry Porch, do you know where your beasties are?
Yeah, they're all in the chat, telling each other to shut up, probably.
Well, I tell you, that chat room is a dog pound.
It's something else. I don't know if they ever listen to the guests. They're just going back and forth with whatever they're talking about. And then the next day, they'll go back and listen to the show.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you are new to our channel, you just feel free to jump in on that chat because they will welcome you with open arms. As our guest talks tonight, if you have questions or it sparks something that you want to find an answer to, then just put your questions in all caps and they will be sent to us, and at the end of the show we will let Chris answer all of the questions.
Every one of them.
Well, Larry Porch, we've come to that part of the show where it's time for you to butcher somebody's name.
Don't we have any Jones or Smiths out there anywhere?
I don't know, but you know, it tickles me, but I know that I'm sporting the championship belt for butchering the English language. So,
I'm catching up. Well, let's quit babbling and get Chris Reinhardt on here from Ozark Mountain Sasquatch Research. How about that?
There you go. Welcome, Chris.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
We're doing fantastic. And I'm going to tell you, it's just so exciting to have you on the show tonight. And we want to thank you personally for coming on. And we know that our audience, whether they're watching live or watching after the fact, that they are going to be able to absorb everything that you are saying. So we really thank you, Chris.
We too, as a team, thank you very much for being interested in our research and what we're trying to do out in the forest and the woods. And all we can do is just share what we're finding. It's basically an IMO, in my opinion. I mean, nothing that I'm going to state tonight is fact, but I'm just going to share our findings and our evidence, and you can all take it from there.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Everything we ever state's our opinion based on our experiences, and that's about all you can do.
Yeah, exactly. 100% agree.
And as Mark Newell will say, you let the evidence speak for itself.
That's right. You know, you can't bring a picture to the table. You can bring evidence to the table, but you can't bring hearsay.
That's right.
Well, Chris, before we get started, why don't you introduce yourself and give us some background about where you grew up, along with your family life, maybe any non-Bigfoot hobbies that you might have.
Okay, well, I've been born and raised in a small town in Northwest Connecticut. I think when I was a youngling, the population was probably about 1,200 people. Little League, church on Sundays, parades, waving the flag on Main Street. You know, small town USA. You know, small gatherings at the Green. Flag flying high on Main Street all the time. That's what I grew up with for my entire childhood. I enjoyed when I was younger fishing, and we did some hunting, and I loved to play baseball and sports. Basketball was my favorite sport to play, and what else you guys looking for? I like to collect baseball cards now, and that's about it. And in a quick little nutshell about how I grew up. So basically, small town USA, Bruce Springsteen, and that's what I grew up with.
Larry was a basketball star. He held how many years did you hold a high score, Larry?
Yeah, it was 30, 31, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was a single game scoring record at my high school.
Nice.
I was first team All-State. I know you can't tell it by looking at me now, but I used to be able to jump and run and shoot.
Yeah, we all
tie your shoes.
That's right. And now I can eat a large pizza.
Now you got Velcro instead of cheese springs.
That's right. Well, Chris, why don't you tell us about your experience as a youngster and what you realized later in life?
Okay, well, when I was 10 years old, my father worked part-time. He worked a couple of jobs, and he worked part-time at like a package store, liquor store. So, everybody has a different name for it. And I used to go up to his house, and he had all these trails in his backyard, and he would just have me, earn 50 cents on a Saturday by cleaning the sticks off, so he could drive his little tractor around and grab his firewood that he needed and all that. And he left me alone one time there, and all of a sudden, for some reason, I got this feeling that something was watching me. There was something that was there, and the trail just closed in on me. I mean, it just closed in, and it closed in, and it closed into this little ball. And I was actually having I'm 10 years old. I don't know what an anxiety attack is, but basically that's what I was having. It felt like the forest was closing in on me. And I didn't realize till 40 years later, when I had my first interaction with the Sasquatch, that same feeling came back, and I was like, holy cow. And it brought back that same exact thing. I can picture in my mind right now how the forest closed in. And so I think that day they were there when I was 10 years old watching me, or they were close by, because I had that same exact feeling. And I'm sure you all know that feeling when they're close by. You get that, I don't know how to explain it, but you get the willies, you get the hair sticks up on your arms, and
yeah,
they're there.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. So yeah,
not when you're 10 years old and in the woods by yourself, though.
Right. Yeah, I can close my eyes right now and see that day to the T. Exactly. Yeah. So my guess was that they were around when I was 10.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if on our YouTube channel, if you go to the comments section, I've got it pinned at the top of Chris's YouTube channel. And I really like the approach, Chris, you have taken with your YouTube channel. You intertwine. I just butchered the English language again. Again. Intertwined your field evidence along with a common sense explanation of what could be happening by showing diagrams with the travel route and evidence found. Chris, talk to us about your goals and vision of Berkshire Mountain Sasquatch.
Okay, well, when I first started the channel, this all started as the whole Sasquatch thing started when I got rid of cable TV and I was introduced to YouTube. And my whole life when I was a kid, I had an interest in Bigfoot. I remember my neighbor across the street had the Guinness Book of World Records book. And I don't know, I was 12, 13 years old. And in the book, they had the picture of Bigfoot. So every time I went over his house, I had to see that picture of Bigfoot. And he would get sick of it because every time I go over, I said, "Hey, can I see that picture of the Bigfoot? Can I see that picture of the Bigfoot?" And he would end up showing me. I mean, I watched every show known to man all the way up until I would, 4 years ago on Sasquatch. So we got rid of cable. I was introduced to YouTube. I punched in Bigfoot, and oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Page after page after page after page on Bigfoot. So I started watching it, and I'm like, you know what? I didn't even know people were actually in the woods looking for them. I had no idea whatsoever. So I put one and one together. I said, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll go out and, I'll go in the woods around here and see if I can find any signs or any of that. So I bought myself a little cheap camcorder, and I started going out into the woods and looking for Sasquatch. So I started coming across signs, and I kind of now got involved with the wrong. I'm not that kind of person, but I kind of got involved with the wrong crowd. I started turning into the guy that needed more videos. It was all about subs. It was all about videos. It was all about selling bumper stickers. It was all about, that's all it was about. It was about all that subs.
Yeah.
I was out in the woods. I was getting evidence, but it wasn't about the research. It wasn't about investigating them. It was about the subs. And that's how my channel started off early. And then Shane actually started watching my channel, and he contacted me, and then I contacted back him, and he said, "Hey, listen, you have stuff happening, but you're going about it the whole wrong way. You're so worried about everything. You're so worried about the sub part and making a video every 2 days that it's actually hurting your research more than it's helping." So he kind of like took me under his wing and, to slow down, take your time, do what you're doing, but do it for you, not for everybody else. So that's when things changed on my channel. When I started, it was more about presenting the evidence and showing how I collected the evidence. And the hardest part about that is when I captured my first wood knocks on film. We were walking down the trail, and they were probably about 100 feet away. I captured the 2 wood knocks, and I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. That was it for me. I was going to be world famous. I got 2 wood knocks, and all of a sudden I realized that everybody that does this has heard the wood knocks. It wasn't just my 2 little wood knocks that I captured. So that brought me to, just document the things, show people what you're getting, and just move on. You don't need to make the videos all the time. Just show your evidence, and that's all you can do. That's all you can really do is present your evidence. And if people are interested in your research, they'll follow your research. And if they don't, then they don't. But, and that's basically my channel. It started off as about subs and all that, and now it's just about presenting evidence. I like to make it little, I put like little, I don't know how to put, but I edit it different than everybody else does. I try and put a little more interest in it than most people. It's just not me walking through the forests and stuff like that. But that's just the way I like to make the videos. But basically, it's presenting evidence now, and that's what my channel is about. It's not about subs or anything. I used to have enough subs to where I could, monetize my channel and all that. But when I left that other part, of I'll call them the tree peekers, always looking into your videos for the Sasquatch and all that. Once I left that group, I lost like 500 subs, just like the snap of my fingers. But you have to be true to yourself and the research, or else it's not worth doing. If you cannot, in my book, if you cannot look at the Sasquatch that you're filming and show that you're looking at it and filming, then you're not filming a Sasquatch. You're just walking through the woods and saying, hey, someone's picking it out. And that's just my opinion. I mean, others can have their own opinion, but that's just mine. So that's what my channel is about, just about capturing evidence and presenting each piece and where it happened and how it happened.
Well, that to me is the best way to be. I mean, the other people that are walking through the woods talking the whole time, they're just entertaining whoever they're talking to. They're really not taking the time to become one with the woods and to absorb what's going on around them if they're sitting there talking to a camera lens the whole time.
Right. It's just it's like a vlogging. You're like vlogging every day. And
right.
Yeah.
And people do love that, no doubt about it. But I would much rather watch a video like you put out of the research and explaining what you're doing, what you're seeing, why you think it is what it is, and all that, because there's enough people in this community that are negative toward whatever anybody presents, and I've got a belly full of that already. I like people that present what they find, tell the truth, and that's it.
Yep, that's all you got. You got your word, and that's it.
Right.
As soon as you break that trust, as you start faking something just to get those views, you're not, it's not worth watching. It's not, and I watch a lot of them, I still have my favorite guys that I watch, and
yeah,
but that's just the way it went. And ever since Shane told me how, do what you're doing, but do it for that. Ever since then, I've had more interactions than I did before, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
That's what you're out there for, is to get that interaction.
Yes, sir.
Well, so many people, they just want to watch fireworks and explosions, but it's really kind of like a good musician. They watch a concert and they think, boy, I want to do that. But yet they don't want to take the time and the daily time, the practice time, the behind the scenes time to understand what goes into when you step out in the woods and you start having success. And going into the woods and looking for evidence is way more complicated and complex than looking for something as obvious as X's and structures, tree bows, or what have you. Chris, when you step off in the woods, what are some of the not so obvious things you are looking for?
I've noticed over the time, we use pattern hikes, number one.
Mm-hmm.
We go the same route. We do the same thing every single time we go in the woods. So that way, when you come across something and it's out of place or something's been added, you know it, because you've been that route hundreds of times and that's never been there. That type of thing. What I notice is the white birch out of place, white birch bark. And lately I've been noticing little tiny twigs, like about 7-8 inches tall, just stuck in the ground in places where we visit all the time. They know, here in Connecticut, they know where I go. They're there before I get there, and they're watching me. And it's taken 4 years to get to this point where I am at. My research area I call Larry's. And it's taken me 4 years to get to this point to where they know where I am, and it's just really amazing. But I notice it's the white birch branches and those little tiny twigs. And you can look around, and if you find those twigs stuck in the ground and you look around the ground and you can't find the other pieces of those twigs, I guarantee you that little 6-inch twig didn't fall from the tree and stick in the ground 3 inches. There's no way.
Right.
But that's just some of the little things that are here. They like to, leave me stones. I find stones, and I have a thing that's called the leaning tree. And they put a branch, sometimes it's like on a big overturned tree, and it was probably the wind probably pushed it over. But there's a branch, sometimes it's on the right hand side, and then other times it'll be on the left hand side. And then one time we even went up there and it was balancing on the thing. It was really, really pretty neat. And I got that all. Everything that I have and I see when I go in is documented by video. Everything. I have hours and hours and hours, and there's a lot of it where there's nothing.
Yeah,
a lot of there's nothing. To me, these guys have no sense of time. They'll take 20 days to move something 4 or 5 inches. You know what I mean? But they notice if you notice. It's hard to explain, but to me, that there's no time. They don't. Time means nothing to them. So that's just a couple of things I noticed is the white birch branches, and lately those little snapped off little branches stuck in the ground.
Now, before you started your pattern hike in this area, did you choose this area for a reason?
It's hard. I know some people might think I get a feeling. I get this feeling that I can. It's hard to explain, and it could be just coincidence or whatever, but the guy that I work for says, "Oh, you got to come to my house," and his name was Larry, and I said, "You got to come to my house, check the woods out back of my house." And I went there one day and I checked the woods out, and I'm like, "Yeah, I got to stay here," and I haven't left. I've been there for 4 years now, and we've had numerous interactions there, but we haven't seen them yet. So
Yeah.
I can't tell you what's doing it, but I can tell you I haven't seen another human being there at all either. It's actually private property, and we're not even supposed to be on it. So,
shh.
yeah.
Oh,
How often do you go out and hike that area?
The weeks that I'm not on call, usually, yeah, it's definitely once a week at that area because I go to other places. But when we first started, it was like 2 to 3 times a week. But then we figured out their patterns. They're not there every week. They come in every couple weeks. So I think it's a travel route. I think they come through. And there's another theory of mine that I have about all that too. I think they have safe spots. And it's kind of like you would picture the Underground Railroad. They had their safe spots and they traveled to them and they could stay there and they would be safe. I think they marked them spots along their trails. And when they get to them, they know they can stay at this spot, be safe, and not worry about, and then they can move on. I think they're always on the move here because of the population. That's just an IMO.
Well, that's our opinion too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they're always moving.
yeah,
They got to be, because if they stay stationary, they would get caught more often.
right. Yeah, something that big would leave a lot more sign if it was in the same general area constantly.
Oh, right. You would find, more deer carcasses or more any of that. Where they feed, where they sleep. Yeah.
One thing that I do is look for common denominators. And Shelley helps us with documenting that. We document everything. She has just book after book after book of little things, little clues that it may not mean anything now, but later on it might mean something. And Larry had said something to me about one of our videos from Titanium Swamp. And I thought, man, we did that investigation so long ago, and I know it had to be so cheesy, that video I did. So I went back and watched it, and it was actually pretty good. And we got to following, I believe Shelley found them, sticks that were stuck in the ground, like what you were talking about. And I had forgotten all about that. And when we were down in Texas, Larry found sticks that were stuck in the ground. And it was like a trail. Do you remember that, Larry?
Yeah.
And we were in such a remote area. I really doubt if humans stuck them sticks in the ground. And
they're not the big sticks, they're just the little twigs, right? You know, like the little, they have no chance of sticking in on their own.
Right. There's no way that it would have fallen out of a tree and stuck there. And so I think that is something why I love doing this podcast and talking to different researchers that go out and hear things that they are finding in different parts of the country that we have seen in different parts of the country.
Yeah, that's funny. We were just talking about that before you got on. I was talking about this dog whimpering noise that I heard. And then Larry said that is there your wife? Is
my girlfriend?
Might as well be.
Yeah.
That's true.
But she actually heard the dog whimpering noise too. And then when we were up here in the 400, there's another guy we just met, and he actually heard that dog whimpering noise too. And I've never heard of anybody else hearing it before. And now all of a sudden in the last 2 weeks, I've heard 2 other people mention it. And it sounds like a wounded dog. Yeah. And when we found it, it was whimpering, and we would go to it, and then it would be 30 feet off to our left. And then we would go 30 feet off to our left, and then it would be 30 feet more into our right. It was leading us into the forest, whatever it was. So we decided to turn around, and we got back out to the main road. And we got back to the main road, and then we heard this, whoa! And we both turned, and all of a sudden you hear through the leaf litter, you hear the rock coming, and then a rock landed right back of us. But it was that dog whimpering noise. And now, and like I said, the last 2 weeks, so just like you just brought up that topic, it's crazy how people, if you get people to interact a little bit more and share each other's instead of a competition,
right,
there's going to be data that'll just collect, and it'll be awesome stuff. Put the pieces.
What's nice is we're finding more people that are willing to share and cooperate with each other. In the past, you've seen more people that if you're not in my group, you're not going to learn anything or hear anything from me about what's going on.
Right. Yeah.
But it is refreshing to see that there are people out there that are willing to talk with other people and compare notes.
Yep. It has to be done. If people want answers and they want to get down, and get the evidence and get going, moving forward with all this, then that's what's needed, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I agree totally.
Yep.
That wolf pack mentality that my group or my friend or my opinion is better than yours. That ideology really makes me want to vomit.
Easy, Mark. Easy.
Well,
yeah. Get that man a bag. Hurry up.
When a person isn't open-minded enough to consider someone else's viewpoint, then they are confined to their own conclusions. And I guarantee you, their learning curve is stunted because of that. Chris, since your early days of researching, has your opinion changed as far as what these creatures are, or their habits, or anything else that you have learned from your knowledge in the woods?
Well, I've always, from day one, thought they were flesh and blood, and that's another reason why when Shane approached me, it was easier to go the other way because I have hard enough time wrapping my head around the idea that these creatures live in the woods. I think they're more of a people because I think they're smarter than they're smarter than the average bear. We'll put it that way. And they're organized. They have to be. They have to be well organized. And I've always thought they were flesh and blood. Um, like I said, I have a hard enough time wrapping my head around that part, and then to start thinking that they're interdimensional and they have all these powers. And how do you prove that? How do you prove that they're interdimensional? Or I don't know. Yeah, so I haven't really changed much other than the group that I was with before because I couldn't handle the ideology that they could jump from dimensions and they're all that. So I've learned a lot more about them, especially being involved in the 400 project because that 400, man, let me tell you, there's nothing. I've read a lot, I've seen a lot. The 400 is one. It's the guy. It's the 1 in a million spot. I'm sure there's some little old farmer lady out in the middle of Indiana that's probably got four of them living in their barn, you know. And
Yeah.
but the 400 has taught, well, it's teaching me a lot about them. And but so basically, I still think they're flesh and blood, and and that's, yeah, it hasn't really changed much.
Well, speaking of the 400, why don't you talk to us about Shane Carpenter and his vision and how he pulled you in. He's also pulled in Randy Harrington, and tell us a little bit about how, from your perspective, how Shane has influenced you in your own personal research.
Okay. Shane is a brother from another mother. We have a lot in common. Shane's experience with the Sasquatch is really amazing. I don't know if a lot of people have heard about it, but back in 2013, Shane actually got the privilege to hang around with a family of 4 or 5. I'm not sure. I think the fifth one was a little one when it all started to end. But I mean, I've seen the pictures that he had. I mean, he's gotten real close, and I mean, he got to the point to where he could tell female from male, which juvenile was where mama was, and all that. So Shane learned a lot on his own right there and then, and now Shane's got cojones. Like, I'm sorry if the ladies are out there listening or anything, but the way I'm jumping way ahead of everything right now because there's so much to do, you know, with Randy's. It's a whole team process. Randy has this Flear setup that is just amazing. I mean, he came up with it himself. He did it, and he's got it on a pole. It'll go 360. It'll go anywhere. So now we are finding them. We are seeing them on the Flear, and Shane is approaching them. Now that's cojones, and that's the only way that you're going to tell the difference. Is that a raccoon or is that a Sasquatch? Now he's approached, I think, 6 times now, and I think 6 out of 6 have been Sasquatch. Shane's a very, very, very centered person. I mean, he's into the martial arts. He's just an all around great guy. Everybody's Randy. He's a great guy. It's just the experience and being picked to be brought into this was just, it's a privilege because
Yeah.
the 400 is a really special spot and we're learning a lot. We're learning a lot. Like you guys heard the other day, we got some language, and it might match that recording that we got back in July 3 years ago. So I don't know if I just jumped all over the place on that question or what, but there's just so much. Shane's an awesome guy. I'm glad to be part of it, and he knows what he's doing. He's got a plan, and we're sticking to that plan, and we're starting to get what we call answers.
Yeah. Well, from your research, what did Shane help you weed out of your research or add to your research?
Yeah, Shane got me out of tree peeping. He got me away from the tree peeping. He got me onto the pattern hikes
Yeah.
and looking at the small things, because they leave the small things. It's not the big huge tree structures that everybody claims. I'm not saying that they're not wrong, because I found one, and I can't say who built it or what built it, but it was magnetic north when I put the compass on the middle of the X. I just
Right.
found that last spring, which is what'll blow your mind. And there's an Indian trail marker. I'm into those too. I like to follow those in the woods.
Yeah.
But where was I now? Yeah, I lost myself. What was the question again?
I was just asking what Shane changed in your research, what he helped you weed out of your research, and what you added.
He taught me how to relax and take it all in. Notice your surroundings. Always look for your little things. Keep your eye on your objective, and never assume. Never assume. Never. You need to get that evidence. You need it.
Right.
Because without it, all it is your claim. So
tell us what your expertise is.
That's what I was about to ask.
Okay, well, go ahead and ask, Larry.
Well, I was just going to say, I know Shane's a tracker. Randy is the tech guru and audio specialist, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I do a little bit of all of it.
Okay.
Kind of the rookie that they brought in, the part of the team, and I'm learning it all. So I can do a little of the tracking, and I'm into the camera stuff too, and I guess I just remember I don't have an expertise, it's just part of the team. And I like to do the daytime hiking and looking for the signs and all that. So
yeah.
So I guess I just what would you call what did they used to call them in the olden days? The clinker or the I don't know, but yeah, just part of the team. No expertise, a little bit of everything.
Well,
and I'm the one that gets the most frightened out of everybody because of the experiences that I've had out there.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, talking about the technology part, I think that maybe me and you should demote ourselves, and let's see. Congratulations, Randy Harrington and Chris. You are the new executive directors of instrumentation.
I think we're all on the same playing field. I think nobody's better than the other person. I think, like I said, we all got to work together, but that setup that Randy made up with that Flear camera, I'm telling you, he can spin that thing around 360 degrees, and now we're using it during the day, and Randy's actually learned how to pick them up during the day. He knows what to look for, and that's how we got him. We actually got daytime footage this last trip out because of Randy and the Flear. And it was pretty awesome. I got to see it. I got to help film it with Shane, and it was a pretty awesome moment. But like I said, it's all a team. It's all teamwork.
Well, definitely, whenever you go into the woods with 4 guys, you want to be able to count on each one, and I'm sure y'all's team, y'all count on each other every time you go out.
Yep. Well, with Shane approaching, I think he's on his own.
Yeah. Yeah, he don't mind getting up within yards of them and sitting with his back to them, does he?
Yeah, no, he's on his own. They start ripping his arms off, we're heading to Randy's truck and we're gone.
Well, I hope somebody videos.
Yeah, we talked about that. We're gonna get those police cams, the ones that you can pin to your shirt.
Yeah.
That way, if he gets his arms ripped off, it'll be filming, and then we can come back the day after. We would never leave anybody behind, no matter what. No matter. And then having Dan Nedrello part of the team now too. I mean, he brings so much wisdom. He's like a walking encyclopedia of Sasquatch. He knows so much about the subject. So many people, so many stories. He's really a brilliant man. So you can't go wrong having him on your team either.
I agree.
Well, talking about Dan and you and Randy. Well, I talked to Shane on the phone last week, and y'all had some exciting things that happened recently at the 400. And I know that you have talked to Shane. I want to be respectful to Shane and make sure that we don't talk about anything that he doesn't want released. But in your conversations with Shane, can you give us a little tip of the iceberg, just a little taste of what happened to y'all a few weeks ago?
Oh yeah, sure. We check in as we always do, but Shane decided to use a different campsite this time, and he's been eyeing this one hill. We'd be camping in between the 2 ridges, and giving them the high end every time so they can watch us. So this time Shane decided to bring us on one of the high ends where he thinks that they're actually staying on this ridge somewhere, and there's a cave somewhere on here, but he believes that he's been eyeing this for a couple of years, so he planted us on top of this ridge. So we checked in, and business as usual at the 400. As soon as we're in, they're in too, and they knew they're in. They're rock throwing. We're pretty sure it's the 2 little ones that are always, interacting with us. I think this is the first year that the smallest of the 2 juveniles was allowed to go out with the older one, kind of like take your brother with you when you're going out to play. Mom would say, don't forget your sister, bring her too. So I think the 2 of them are old enough to come and check us out now. And I think that's what happened. And what they do is they let us know they're there, is the crazy part. One will knock on a tree. The other one was knocking on a rocks or a tree or whatever to let us know. This was 2:00 in the afternoon. They were there. And that's when I just told you that Randy took his Flear out, seen the little one just barely moving his head. And then he took off running. We all heard him running. He could hear him. And Shane followed the running and seen where he went. And he yelled over to us, and he's like, someone grab a camera. I got my eyes on him right now. I got my eyes. So I grabbed the nearest camera, and I ran over to him and sat down next to him. We put it down, and we got him right on camera. We got the top of his head. He's on the side of the tree, and his head's just right there. And you can actually see the fur and the light at the top of the fur. It's a conical head. and you could see the light, and he moves just a little bit, but we caught him for like 30 seconds. It was absolutely amazing. It was probably the best experience I've ever had with this subject. So that's one of the things that happened. But as the rock throwing, that's a common thing out there. They've always throw rocks at us. We had actually one the size of a pool cue ball come in, didn't hit the leaf litter, and landed right in back of us. It had to be lobbed in. There's no other way because we were sitting in front of like a big tarp, and it had to be like either hook shot it over or there's only way to do it. It wasn't thrown, so he had to be really really close. But after that, we did a little thing about holding the rock in our hands, and then Randy would shine the Flear on it, and you could actually see the rock heated up from that. We didn't know that to begin with, so now next time we go, we get those rocks thrown at us, we're going to hit it with the Flear right away and see if we can see the fingerprints on the rock, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, they were the two little ones. I can't tell you about the older ones, but they were there the whole time we were there, which is pretty neat. It feels like we're growing with them. It feels like we're getting older. They're getting older, and we're getting older, and they're trusting us more. And Shane actually approached two of them, and they actually spoke to him in some like a blah, blah, blah. That's how he explains it. And I think, yeah, like I said, Shane's got big kahunas because I ain't doing it.
He might tag you and you have to go next time.
Yeah, well, if it comes to that point where it's your time, I guess we're going to have to try and do it. But oof, that takes a lot of it. You got adrenaline going big time when you're doing that. But that's really the only way you can tell on the Flear of what you're looking at.
Right.
Just to approach them.
Well, I know Shelly Reed. She's in the chat room, but I need her to grab a book and write down, and I believe you said Randy came up with it, that if a rock is thrown, then we need to take that thermal and see if there is a heat signature on that rock. Because I don't know about you, but I'm banking that. That is something that if anybody that's out there that's researching, you need to bank that, because that is a golden nugget to put in your war chest of something that you can do out in the field. That's never crossed my mind, and kudos to y'all guys for sharing that. I mean, that's what this podcast is about, is sharing knowledge and experiences that we learn out in the field, so somebody else might be able to take that knowledge and apply it to their own research area.
Yeah, for sure. Randy is a really smart man. He's been around the subject for a long time now, and he's seen a lot of stuff, and he loves his thermal setup. He loves it, and it does an awesome job. And to come up with the heat signature on the rock is just it really is amazing. So cool.
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I've watched the show that you and Shane and Randy were depicted on. They've changed the name 45 times. It's Terror in the Woods one year, and then next year it's something else.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Shane said he didn't really like that. It was several stories put together. But the incident where you grabbed your knife in the tent, was that ad-libbed by them, or did that happen?
The knife never happened, but the rest of it did. I listened to one walk, well, what I presume to be one, because I didn't see it. But that night, it was the first July I was there. We found the tracks. We casted the tracks. Randy caught the one peeping into the 400 is the way everything really happened.
Yeah.
Randy caught the one peeking up at the riverbank, and then we went back to the campsite and went to bed. I'm in bed, I'm listening, and I can hear footsteps, and it's one step at a time. Like if you were creeping up on something and you were like sneaking, and you put one foot in front of the other, I listened to that probably about 20 steps, and then all of a sudden it stopped right on the side of the tent where I was sleeping, and we didn't have the rain gear on because it was so hot. It was like 95 degrees. Every time we go to the 400, it's like 1,000 degrees. I swear. It's a devil's armpit there, I'm telling you.
Is there a reason y'all choose to go whenever it's that hot?
Well, Shane did a lot of solo trips out there and all that, and July and October are the months out there. So that's when he brings us in. So that thing, whatever it was, stopped right on the side of the tent. And I knew if I looked up, I was going to see whatever it was. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Now, I'm just coming out of looking at tree structures in the woods, walking around the woods in Connecticut, to being thrown into this situation where now I've seen them on Flear. We're finding footprints, and we're down in the belly of the beast. So I couldn't look up, but all of a sudden it came down to me and huffed in the side of my face. Whoa! Just like look at my arm right now. Can you guys see that? The hair's straight up on my arm. Everything. And I shook. I shook for about 15 minutes. I couldn't move. I couldn't do nothing. Finally, my stomach, I'm sorry for everybody, but my stomach was ready to let loose. Now I got to go outside. I got to go out to the tent, grab the bucket, and head to the woods. Shane wakes up at this point, shines a flashlight on me. I'm standing in the middle of the tent, he tells me, pale white, asking me what you're doing. And I just tell him what just happened. I said, now I got to go outside, Shane. Well, what do I do?
Right.
He said, well, I ain't going to help you.
might carry you to the car wash after y'all get back home.
So I put my headlamp on, I put my shoes on, I went out the tent. I never looked up, and then made my way back to the tent. And that happened. That's the way it happened. Not like, that Terror in the Woods show was awful.
Yeah.
When they told us that I was screaming, we got to get off this mountain. That's what I told them. That's what I was thinking. The second night we were there, when we were watching the one for 10 minutes, walking back and forth, I was thinking to myself, because I never knew this was really going to happen.
Right.
I didn't think I was going to see them. And I'm sitting on that ledge. It's 2:00 in the morning, pitch dark, and I'm watching this thing walk back and forth for the tree. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this ain't for me. This is not for me. I got to get off this mountain, and that's it. That's the bottom line. And that's what I told that the producer. That's what I was thinking. That's not what happened. They had us running away the first night. We were there for 4 more nights. So we're very disappointed in what they did there, because we were hoping that they would tell our story and then we could come out with the Into the 400, and that would help us out, because we're just doing this for research for equipment to fund what we got going on. That's all. We want better Flear footage. We want that kind of stuff.
Right.
Only reason why we're doing the documentaries.
Well, the evidence y'all are presenting in those documentaries are as good as anybody I've seen. So I think y'all should do well with it.
Yeah, wait till the next 2 come out. This next one, we got another Flear footage of me and Shane. We split up one night, and Randy was on one side of the other side of the property, and me and Shane were on one side of the property, and we're sitting on that ledge up on Crawler Hill, they call it, and he had a wood knock off to our left, and I caught something to our right on the Flear camera, so I'm staying with the thing on the right. Well, the one on the left was trying to knock, so this one on the right could get away without us seeing it. Well, we got him on Flear getting up and going down the hill. The third one after that is the one with Shane that's 7 foot from the Juvenile. That's that's a mind blower right there. It's craziness.
How close is part 2 to coming out?
We are starting part 2 next week.
Next week.
Wow.
And that will be available to rent and view on Amazon Prime?
On Amazon Prime again, yep.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad Shane finally hurried up and got that out.
Yeah, we're gonna get it. Yeah, you gotta push Shane a little bit.
Oh man, I ain't put out a video on my YouTube channel in 7 months. I got about, I don't know how much footage I got.
Yeah.
Which, like you said, if you don't have evidence to go with it, I mean, it's camping trips and fishing trips. So.
Yeah, right. It's all it is walking in the woods. You know?
That's right.
But I got stuff to put out in a video. I have a like a trading post gifting area that I've had for 4 years now, and I had a monkey taken a year ago. It just showed back up a year later the same week. I'm actually sending a piece away to the geneticist this week to see if there's any possible DNA on it. That's cool. Another big thing that just happened for us. We a friend of my girl's family she's a wildlife biologist, and she has a friend that's a geneticist. So she's very interested in getting the samples and helping us out. So that's pretty huge for the research part.
No doubt. I wish Mark could get a friend like that.
Mark does have a friend like that. We're sitting right here.
Well, if it wasn't for you, I've got friends in low places. Chris, with you researching in Connecticut and then getting involved with Shane at the 400, have you found any common denominators that has helped you connect the dots?
Just the bottom line is the pattern hikes. I suggest to anybody, if you want to get close and you first off, you got to know that you have Sasquatch on your property. And if you know you got Sasquatch in the place you're going to, pattern hikes will get you close to them. That's what I have learned from, Shane and I, doing the same thing. It's the most important thing, because if you do that pattern hike every time, that allows them to know where you're going. No surprises. They can get ahead of you. They can follow behind you. And then they can leave stuff to see if you notice that it's them along the way. And that's what's helped me get closer and get more interactions here in Connecticut. My guys like to knock. They like to knock on trees, and they'll knock. We'll be down the trail 25 feet in back of us. They'll knock at me. I'm just dying for that, that face-to-face interaction. I haven't had that yet.
Are you ready for that?
Oh, I'm ready. I don't know how close I want it to be, but I mean, it was this last time in the 400 when we shot that little one in the daytime. I mean, it's only the top of his head. I mean, it's not earth-shattering evidence, but it is. It's evidence. It's there. You can tell it's there. You can see it. But me watching it was just incredible, and I would just love to be able to see that. That's our goal. Our goal is to have them come in 10 feet, sit down, and have a candy bar, or well, you know what I mean, or not have a beer with them, or you know what I mean, or whatever. Yeah. And we believe that it can happen. We believe that you don't have to shoot one. If we can get them to come in within 30 feet and we can get that on HD film, and it would just be incredible.
I agree with that. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I hope some of you guys get it. Somebody gets it. Somebody that's, it'll be awesome.
acquired knowledge of these creatures provokes more questions, and the motivation to get out into the woods and find those answers. Chris, what questions stand out in the forefront that you are pursuing the answers for?
I would like to know what they do in the wintertime. Where do they go? You know, the activity of them in the wintertime. I mean, even in the warmer climates, they're not as active in the wintertime. Where do they go? I would love to know that. And I would love to know if it's, if they're family units, or they're communities, or they're loners, or those are the questions I got.
A lot could have to do with the food sources that are available in the summertime, and then there's another food source that might be available in the wintertime. And I know that's one of the things that we try to do when we're going to an area that we frequent, is looking for the food sources and what's available at the time. Talk to us about Shane's tracking skills.
Oh, that Shane knows how to track them. Period. I mean, he knows where to start and where to finish. He can find an impression. He can find a stick snap, and he'll look around for an impression. And he can track them. He can track them ridge to ridge. He's taught me a lot. I've actually come, not, superior at it, but I'm getting pretty good at finding the impressions in the tracks too now. I've learned a lot from these guys, and that's another thing. Being the rookie of the bunch and only been doing this for 4 years, I have 30 years of experience around me every time I go to the 400, and I'm not a big talker, and the interviews here, I mean, and I apologize if I get too wound up or I get mixed up or excited. I get too excited and I ramble on a little bit and get mixed up. So I'll apologize about that. But yeah, Shane can track these guys. We can follow them right away. If they're there and he can find that impression, we can get on them. You can track them for sure.
Yeah, but that's definitely a misnomer by people that don't go in the woods looking. They have in their mind that you're finding huge footprints everywhere with toes, and it's just them walking for a mile through the woods. And what you and Shane are tracking is not necessarily an absolute footprint. It's an indention in the leaves, or as you said, twigs breaking and finding indentions. There's so much to it that it's just not as simple as. Now, y'all did look up on that nice trackway in the creek.
Oh yeah.
But most people have in their mind that's what you're doing whenever you're tracking. It's finding good prints like that all the time, and that's just not the way it is.
No way. No, that's the impressions. You got to look. You got to know what to look for, because they're there. Like I found a track, an impression next to one of the last. When was I in there? Last weekend I was at Larry's, and I found another one of those little sticks, and I actually found an impression 10 feet away from it, and I got it on my phone, and it's a footprint right next to that little snap. But we were only in there just to get in there and back out, because it was birthday party or something. We only had limited time. But so you're not going to find those footprints like we found in that trackway in the 400. We got lucky. You know what happened? The water receded.
Right.
The lake was there. The water dropped. They use water to travel, I think, 95% of the time. I think the only reason why they have to leave the water is to hunt. you know. But I don't know for sure. That's just my thoughts. But yeah, they use the creeks, they use the waterways as because it hides their prints,
Right.
hides their scent, and hides everything.
It makes perfect sense.
Yep. So yeah, we're Shane's one of the, I don't know too many others that track like Shane does, but Shane does a really, really good job at tracking.
Chris, you are a breath of fresh air in this sometimes cray world of Bigfooters.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
What are your goals and your visions when you look at what you plan on doing in 6 months and what you would like to do? What are the steps that you take to try to improve on your research?
Well, I want to my main goal. I want to get better footage. I want to be able to get 4K 6K out in the woods all the time. And see, the problem with that is you got to bring a $6,000 rig with you out in the woods. There's got to be a better way than risking $6,000 to go out in the woods and get that kind of footage. I want the ultra HD, so that'll kind of eliminate the tree peepers because when they're looking at video, they're looking at 60 frames per second. Now they're picking out a picture in the frame in one of the frames, and that's 60 frames in that 1 second, and then it's only there for that one little clip, and then it's gone. And I mean, they're claiming it's Bigfoot. It's got 3 eyes, all that stuff, and you know what I mean. The mouth is crooked, and
Right.
I'm sorry, I really apologize to the people on here that believe in that, and believe me, I'm not. I'm just telling you how I feel about it. You can feel any way you want it, and I'm not going to think any less of you. I'm just telling you the way I feel. So, don't take it the wrong way. But that's what I want to. I want to get that better footage, and the ultimate goal is to prove that they're real, so we can get them protected. Because if I think the government hunts them, number one, I think the government knows where they are. I think if they cause problems or somebody, I just think they need to be protected. And the sooner that we can prove to mainstream that they're real, then hopefully we can get them protected and at least a no hunting ban.
Right.
So yeah, that would be my goals, and I would really love to do this full time. So if any of you guys are like multi-millionaires and want to help, no, we got two teams right here ready to go.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah. I would love more than anything to be able to do this full time, more than anything. But that just doesn't happen. So you got to do your 40 and do do the other half on the other 40, right?
That's right. That's all you can do.
So that's my ultimate goal, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I know 100% after this last trip to Missouri that they're real. 100%. There's not a doubt in my mind. I mean, there's nothing that throws rocks the size of pool ball cues. I mean, the rock was this big.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that can lob it over your head without hitting you. It's not a bird. It's not a raccoon. It's not a possum. It's not an armadillo. It's not a deer. It's a Sasquatch, and I know 100% that they walk the forest.
Now, does y'all's team have plans of going into your area and implementing some of the things y'all have done on the 400?
Yeah, well, we are actually going to start building a campsite. What happened is like I told you earlier, we can't. It was private property. We don't know whose it is, so we can't camp there.
Okay.
So I had someone contact me that lives 10 miles up the road, and they were having stuff happening on their property. So I went up there and we checked it out and looked around, and I found a couple nice footprints up there, and we were getting knocks up there. And then I came back home and I did my research, and it's 10 miles from Larry's, and the same creek feeds it.
Okay.
It runs through it, so it might be part of their travel route.
Right.
Well, we can camp at this spot. So we're gonna build a campsite coming up, and we're gonna start going at night and implementing what we do at the 400, and hopefully I can get enough proof to where the team will come to Connecticut, and then we'll bring the team to Connecticut and camp out here and see what we can do here too.
It might be a little cooler there.
It's the same humidity.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it gets hot here too. But last week it was 102, 103 degrees. It was hot. I got home, I slept for a whole day. No lie, I had to take the day off from work. I slept 24 hours straight. It was unreal.
I understand that feeling. Yeah. I can't get Mark once it gets past 85 to go out. I don't understand it. It's like he's addicted to air conditioning or something.
You got to get one of those safari hats with the built-in fan in the front. It just blow right on his head the whole time.
Larry busted my chops.
That's my job. I hadn't talked about you snoring any lately.
Well, yeah. I've kind of improved on that.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks to Rodney Beasley.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ticks were awful this trip too. It was the ticks were really bad. So everybody out there, protect yourself from the ticks because they're bad this year.
Yeah, that's how they were at Land Between the Lakes also. But so y'all get more activity in the summer months. Shane has figured out that he gets it more in July and October, is what you said?
There's the same here. I get it from between July and mid-November. And my best month here is September. They're here on a weekly basis. There's got to be a food source here. There's got to be something that they're here for because they're here weekly.
I've got to say our most activity came in our June trips that we very rarely take to early November also because Mark, we're going the wrong time of year. We go all winter. We go about twice between June and October. And then from October on, we go every other weekend pretty much.
Well, it's cooler then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
where do they go in the winter? I don't know. That's what bothers me. I mean, you can't find their tracks. You can't find nothing.
Right.
No sign of them. Here they'll visit the gift area, my gifting area, every few weeks, like every 3 weeks. But there's snow on the ground, they won't come.
Right.
I bury my gifts under the ground now. That's part of Ozark Mountain Sasquatch research. We just don't leave them up on a rock now. I bury them under the ground in a Tupperware container sealed, and then I put like 5 stones on top of them, and then it looks like. And the only way to know that it's there is to know that it's there. So we'll come to the site. The rocks will be all moved. The Tupperware will be pulled out of the ground, left on the ground, lid popped every time. The peanut butter and apples. I know people say don't feed them. I don't overfeed them. It's only every couple weeks, and every time there's got to be a spot. And then they take the peanut butter jar with them every time. So there's got to be a spot in the woods out there that's got about 400 jars of peanut butter because we have only found 3 in 4 years. So,
and no finger swipe marks in the peanut butter left in the jar or anything, or is it clean?
They take the jars with them.
Oh, well, I thought you said you found 3 of them.
Well, we found 3 of them, but we didn't have any way to test them before.
Okay.
But now we have somebody, if we find one, we can send them out and have it tested.
Right. Sounds like you got it going on.
Talk to us about your instrumentation. What equipment do you take out in the field that you want to use to capture evidence?
Well, we always got recorders going, number one, on our backpacks. I always got a camcorder with me. The guy that up here in Connecticut that goes with me, he has a camcorder. GoPros attached to the backpacks. And that's about it here. Nothing, just enough to cover the evidence that we get, and the recorders go area. I don't leave. There's certain hot spots along my trail that I won't leave cameras at because I don't want to ruin anything. I mean, I've had stones left for me. I don't know. I've had this one right here. Oops. Whoa. Still with me?
Yep.
I've had this stone right here. This stone was left for me by a tree. You can see it in my videos. I showed that it was never there. And I would never leave a camera by these areas because I don't want to ruin these areas. I think they're special to them and special to us. So, and then here's another stone that was left for us. I mean, these aren't small stones, so this isn't like a raccoon leaving these stones.
Right.
So I use trail cameras, but I don't use them at the sites where we had the interaction. If you watch my latest video and I show the travel route, that shows all the hot spots that I would never leave cameras at.
That is an awesome video, and we showed excerpts of it a little earlier in the show, and I just want to suggest if you're interested in seeing how someone goes out and applies good common sense research and documents it, then I'm going to tell you, you need to go to Bershow Mountain Sasquatch and subscribe and watch Chris's videos, because no matter what level that you are at, you can learn something. And I don't care if you've been doing this for 30 years, you can pick up something from Chris's YouTube channel that you can apply to your own tactics and strategy out there.
Come on now. You can't tell a guy that's been doing this 30 years nothing.
We've ran across a few, hadn't we?
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I got a feeling if I'm in this for 50 years, I'll still be at square one pretty much.
Yeah, I'll be in the same boat. All you do is just keep getting more questions. You think you get an answer, but then you're like, oh, well, what is this?
Yes.
Oh, but ain't no answer. Just another 20 questions. Here we go.
Doubt.
Yeah, here we go again.
You know, that's one thing that we say. The more that we learn, the more questions that we have. And I think it's very important that when you have theories and you're working on a certain theory, that if you find some kind of evidence, then you don't try to mold that evidence into your theory. You let that evidence speak for itself. Evidence is not Play-Doh. You cannot form it. You've got to let that evidence speak for itself, and if you don't have an answer for it, then you put it in a box and you keep it and you hold on to it, because I can assure you somewhere that it's going to come back up. It's just like what you were talking about, the sticks in the ground. And it's something that we haven't seen a lot, but we have seen it. And then when you talk to other researchers that have seen the same thing, and you pick each other's brain, and you find out their theories, and then you may be able to take that little something that they say, and you can say, okay, well, let's look at it this way. And I think it's important, as I like how Shane, he won't refer to himself as a researcher. He'll refer to himself as a hobbyist. And I think that's important for us to do, and to be able to respect each other and try to learn from each other. And I think that's why the Into the 400 is, if you haven't watched it, go to Amazon Prime. I've got a link to it in the comment section, and there are just so many nuggets of knowledge that you can take from this documentary that Shane has put together. But if you're sitting back and you're saying to yourself, he don't know what he's talking about, and I've got all the answers, you better look in the mirror, because there's no experts out here, and we all ought to be trying to learn from each other.
Oh, for sure. I agree 100%. And Shane will be the first one to tell you that. Learn from each other. He's not dictating that this is the way things are. We're just showing the evidence that we're gathering. That's then what we do. Either people can take it and try it, or people can, not try it. I just, but I can tell you personally, where I'm at, it works. Right. It works 100%.
And somebody might take the method and tweak it, and it get even better. And that's what it's about. So
yeah, and then they could share it with us. Say, hey, Shane, or Chris, we've seen you on your show, and you told us this, hey, and then we added this to us, and we got this result. You know what? We'd be the first ones to try it. We'd be like, wow, that's awesome. You know what I mean? You got to work together.
Yeah,
I agree. Because there's nobody in this that knows, that really knows. You know what I mean? It's all presumption.
Right.
The toughest obstacles that we face is not rivers and mountains or terrain. It's the cesspool of bad actors of social media that you have to contend with their opinions, egos, envy, and ugliness. And there's nothing that you can learn from that. And so I just think this is a great discussion for anybody out there that's new to this, or has an interest and wants to go out in the woods and maybe try to find something or have a sighting. That Dan Rickey always says, research the researcher. And that is such great advice.
Yep.
All right. Well, what are we to tell you? What are we going to make out of it if we're going to hoax it? You're not going to get famous. You're not going to make $1 million. You're not going to do it. So I just don't understand why you would go out and hoax something. Tell the truth, be honest in your research, and that's all you can do. I mean, no one's making millions.
You're right. But there's always those out there that are jealous or envious or want to accuse you of doing something, though, because you're presenting evidence.
Right. Oh, you can't do that. That can't happen. What do you mean? Like I gave a photo of a footprint to Mark, my buddy Larry found, and it was on his deck and it was in the snow. I had this guy that reported me and told me I was a hoaxer and that footprint was photoshopped.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I Photoshop a footprint in the snow on a deck?
And why?
Yeah. Why? What's it going to do for me?
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All it's going to do is get maybe 10 people look at it and say, hey, there's a footprint on the deck, and then they'll move on. But no, I was a hoax. I was presented a hoaxer and blah, blah, blah. And it was a big ordeal. But you know what? In the end, whatever.
Exactly. Whatever.
It costs me more money to do this than I'm making. So,
Amen.
yeah, and you can ask Maria that.
I tell you, I live on the corner of broke and bad luck.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you didn't say Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, there's another video on our YouTube channel you can check out.
Well, thanks for everything, guys, and I'll be talking to you later.
That's how I feel about that too. To each his own.
Yeah, no, to each their own is correct. I'm with you.
Well, I guess it's about time for questions and answers.
Yeah,
And
Chris
so-
can finally get some good questions instead of ours.
How many I got? How many I got? 3?
Well, I'm not sure. I'll have to check. And but if you have a question about anything that we talked about, or just a general question for Chris, then just put them in all caps, and we'll get them answered, or hopefully answered. And so, Larry, do you want to start?
I sure will. I can butcher this name. David Marrier asked, have you seen the belly crawl and the track line left behind?
We actually have the belly crawl caught on Flear camera. We got it I think it was October. It might have been July, but Randy caught the belly crawl on the Flear camera. So I have seen it on Flear, but I have not seen the tracks.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
Is that going to be in part 2?
I think that's, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I think it's part 3. Part 3 is going to be the really, really blow your mind one. Part 2 is not too bad either, but it's a lot of the track stuff and showing the morphology of, because we think we found the prints the year before and then found the same set of prints the next year, and we can identify them by the toes. And we believe it's her foot is actually flattening out now and spreading out wider and getting the Bigfoot aspects compared, because we think the juvies look more like our footprints, and now the morphology of her foot is changing. So that's what part 2 is going to be. It's going to be more of the tracks and all that part, and it's really interesting stuff. But I think part 3 will be what we believe to be the belly crawl.
Cool.
Okay, it is my turn to butcher the English language. David Marrier asked, how does the face look compare to some of the claims out of Canada?
I personally could not answer that because I haven't seen them face to face. I've seen plenty of other pictures of people that I'm not supposed to, I can't talk about or anything about, but I think they all have their own characteristics from what I've seen, but I personally have not seen one face to face. So I'm sorry, I can't really answer that with.
Well,
you answered it.
Yeah, that's a truthful answer.
Called honesty.
That's all I got.
Hey, that's important.
Yes, it is, sir.
All right, our buddy Spencer Jameson asked, have you noticed any specific differences in the way they act at the 400 versus Connecticut?
Well, the difference is I think it's the camping part. I haven't spent like 4 days out in the woods here in Connecticut with these guys yet, and I have with the ones in Missouri. So hopefully there'll be a lot of similarities between the two, and then we can put that together. So as soon as I find out and we camp out here, and if we catch them the same way, then I'll be able to answer that question. But my guys like to knock on trees, and the guys down there in Missouri, they like to throw stones. So those are the only differences I could really tell you right now. I mean, they all like the little games. They all like to leave the little trinkets, the little rocks here, the little, you know. I think they're all as curious. Excuse me. They're just as curious of us as we are of them. So
Yeah.
I will. I'll be sure to ask these guys once we camp out here and I get some results. I'll get back to you on that. And that's a pretty good question, and I cannot wait to find that one out.
Okay. Now,
Sounds good.
Larry kind of asked this earlier in the show, but I think it's good that we bring it up again. And Debbie Jones asked, when can we expect another episode of the 400?
That all depends on how the editing goes. I would like to say by the end of August is being truthful, but I'm not promising anything. I know Shane's I talked to them yesterday, and Shane's going to be talking to them in the next couple of days, and they're going to start next week. So as fast as they can edit it and get to where we want, then the biggest part is Amazon takes forever and ever and ever to get the videos on. So
yeah,
my guess would be end of August for early September, and that's not a promise. That's just a guess, but I can't wait for the second one to come out.
Me neither. I'm ready to watch it now. Can y'all email it to me? I'll send the $4.
All right.
Or $5, whatever it is.
I'll get you the behind the scenes morning footage if you want.
Hopefully of you not on the bucket.
Yeah. That ain't a pretty sight.
Well, Sally says, be right back. Wait, I ain't supposed to read that one. Oh, man. Why did you leave me? Jamie, I'm sorry. Jamie Cotterill, and I know that ain't right. Would it make sense to disguise a camera on a log floating in the water by your camp?
That's a really good idea. We actually have a creek, our original camp site that's right in back, and we have activity right there. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Randy just came up with this idea. He hollowed out a log and he enclosed a recorder in it, parabolic. Yeah. And it looks just like a log, and then he just lays it on the ground wherever he is, and it just records. But having something floating around in the water, hey, pretty good idea. Might have to try that one out.
We had a couple of friends hollow out a log and put a trail camera in there where you couldn't, just the lens was able to see out.
Yeah.
And I believe they buried it, didn't they, Mark? Kind of where it was looking up. And they had it ripped out of the ground and thrown down a ravine. And I think the camera was ripped out. And that was Eric and Kane did that. But
yeah. You know,
a lot of work into that.
Yeah. That's the only problem with trying that stuff. It's expensive once they find it and tear it all up on you.
Right.
What really struck me about that is Kane built this thing to put this camera in. And before he put the camera in it, he just left it out there and they left it alone. And they didn't mess with it. And then they went out like 2 months later and then put the camera in it. And then when they came back to check it, I mean, it was just destroyed. And so there you go. You know, you do something, and then all of a sudden you got 20 more questions. How could they tell that there was something in there when this camouflage case that they had? I mean, that's basically what he did, was he hollowed something out and left it in there. It's just,
because they didn't do the same thing. They did something different and they knew it.
Yeah.
Creatures of habit, we believe. Well, I believe.
Evidently. It's almost like some people have said they've almost got a touch of autism or something, that they like the same thing over and over. And
Yep.
if you change something, it either irritates them or runs them off. One or the other.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great idea, though. That's a great question. And if I try it, once again, I'll let you know.
Okay, I'm not sure who this question is from, but
It's from Debbie.
it's from Debbie. Okay.
I guarantee it.
Have you ever seen them do something out of the normal that you couldn't explain that seemed paranormal?
Huh.
I've had a lot of weird things happen, but it's just like, can you say it's Bigfoot? If you were out in the woods, say you were looking for a gray UFO gray, and all of a sudden something paranormal happens in the woods, well, you're going to say, oh, well, the gray did that. It was the guy from the UFO that did that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to be able to say they did something paranormal, I mean, I've had a lot of strange things happen, but I can't tell you what did it, or that's a tough one.
Well, that's a pretty good point. And if you're someone that likes to research behind the scenes and maybe get clues of an area, if you want to focus in on an area, don't just go to the BFRO reporting sightings site. Go to Ghost Hunters, go to the UFO people, because those people, when something happens, they're going to throw it in whatever box that they have an interest in. And I know one guy that goes to the ghost hunting sites, and they're out there looking for ghosts and start giving descriptions of what sounds like a Bigfoot. So that was a free one right there.
Right.
There you go. Nuggetology.
Probably the strangest thing that's happened was that dog whimpering thing. That was probably the strangest thing that's ever happened out there.
Well, just buckle up. It's going to get stranger next time.
Yeah.
All right. Sally Olin asks, have any of the rocks ever hit you guys?
Not this team, but when Shane was originally going out there, he had a camera guy that got hit in the chest with a rock.
Whoa.
So Shane immediately, I guess, took it as they didn't like him because nobody else has been hit with a stone, or maybe not. I don't know the whole story, so I can't speak for Shane, but none of us have been hit with a rock. I mean, they come close. Was coming back from the truck. I had one go over my head this last trip, and I felt the breeze of it go right over the top of my head and hit the tree. So they got great aim. I think if they want to hit you, they're going to hit you. I think they do it to get a reaction. The way we handle it, the rock will come in, and we will pick up the rock, and we will just go on like nothing happened. We keep on talking, and I think that irritates them to the point to where they got to throw another rock at you. So we basically don't pay attention to the rock throws. So yeah, none of this original team has been hit with a stone.
Have y'all had any trees pushed down while y'all are out there?
I have had one here in Connecticut, but I'm not too sure about Shane. Actually, the guy that was with me, he actually seen it go over. You can see it in one of my videos. It's in my second video on my channel, and I play it over and I loop it, and you can just hear it, boom, and that was the same day we were bluff charged in that area. We didn't get that on tape. We came around a corner and he was right there, and something just came full of steam. It sounded like a bull running through the woods, and then it just stopped, and you couldn't see where it came from. You couldn't see anything moving or nothing. But yeah, I've had one here in Connecticut, but I'm not too sure. Not why I've been in Missouri, but Shane might have had it happen.
Wow.
Okay.
That's really cool. Larry, I don't think that I told you and Debbie this, but when we were out 6 weeks ago or whatever at Land Between the Lakes, on our last night there, I had heard bipedal footsteps while y'all were out in the kayaks, and later on that night, nature called, and I thought, well, I better go out. I don't want to have to unzip this tent and be looking for a tree. And it was probably 11 o'clock at night, and I walked to that area where I had heard those bipedal footsteps. And so while I'm sitting there, leaned up against a tree crashed. And I don't know if you remember that. And Debbie hollered out. She said, "Mark, are you okay?"
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And I said, "Yeah." You know, and I screamed back. But I wasn't in my tent. I was leaning against a tree when that happened. And it's funny how things happen that are suspicious, and then and you just put it to the back of your mind and you forget about it. But that reminded me of that.
I just thought maybe you leaned up against the wrong tree.
Our friend Tony from Fishing, Gaming, and Guitars asked, do you think they have a breeding or a rut season, or just whenever, like humans?
That's another.
You mean humans do it just whenever? Go ahead, Chris.
I'm not getting.
I'm not answering that.
I'm not answering that question.
Can you answer the question about the breeding season or the rut season with a Sasquatch?
I think now, and you know, this is just my opinion. I think they breed every 3 years. I think they know enough that they have to keep their population down, or else they're going to be found out. So, and then I've been doing a little research on my own here, and it seems like every 3 years, little tracks start showing up. People start finding those little impressions. They start finding the little tracks, and this is the 3rd year. So if anybody out there, that's actually a great question. Anybody out there that has found little prints, please get a hold of me on my email at berkshirebigfoot@gmail.com, because I would love to talk to you about it. But I think every 3 years they breed, and that's just my opinion.
Well, that's all we can have is opinion, and we should respect each other's opinions, because you never know. We might all be right in different aspects of it.
Right. Yep. I can't tell you for sure. I can't tell you for 100% sure, but just seems that every 3 years the little footprints start showing up.
Yeah. Well, it would be hard on the mother to tend to toddlers that are a year or 2 years old. It would make sense to get them weaned and self-sufficient, kind of, before they had another.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
And to keep the numbers down. I mean, they can't have a population of 50,000 of them in Connecticut, because you can't stay hidden when you have a population that high here.
Very true.
But who knows?
Well, that's part of it. We just got to keep going and figure it out.
That's it.
And that's a good theory. All right, Boots on the Ground with Barb asked, tell them about the rock you guys marked and they threw back at you.
Oh, that was Randy and Shane. at the 400. They were camping one night, and they got bombarded by rocks all night long. They heard them. They had the recorders going. Randy's got the setup where you can put the headset on and listen to the parabolic. So the next day, they decided to. Shane went out, looked for the prints, tracked them, found out where they were throwing them from, and then they found a pile, and they numbered them. And then they left the pile up where Shane found the impressions and left the numbered rocks there. Well, the next day they went up to the top of the hill where they were. There, all the rocks were gone, and they actually found the numbered rocks down by the tent.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a great experiment. They got it all logged in, everything logged, everything taped, and they had rocks hitting the side by side. It was just, they were getting bombarded.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Hi, Barb, too. Barb's awesome. If anybody knows Barb, she's awesome.
Okay. Shane said that Chris can tell us the story about the thong. And Debbie Jones says she wants to know every detail.
About the thong?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the thong.
Oh, I bet Shane will be calling me later on tonight.
Yeah.
All right, next question, Larry.
All right. Ruger Ridge still wants to know about the thong. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Ruger asks, is there any one thing that draws them out in your experience?
All right. Right now at the 400, we don't have to draw. We don't even have to go looking for them anymore. They come to us. And that's not a lie. Not a lie. They come, and then when they get there, they let us know they're there. That's the crazy part. But we used to, when I first started going there, we used to hike for hours to get to the spots they were, to get set up and do it. Now we don't even have to leave camp. They come right to us. I think it's just I think it depends on them. I don't think you can draw them in. I think they're, like I said, they're curious. They're probably right there with you. You just can't see them.
Right.
If you can afford a Flear camera, and you're very interested in these guys, I would make the investment, because really that's the only way you're going to be able to see exactly where they are, and hopefully get that interaction. A Flear camera or a thermal camera is a great investment to investigate these guys.
Well, I really agree with what you said. I feel like when you step off in the woods, if they are anywhere near around, they know you're there. Now, Shane from Ozark Mountain Sasquatch asked, Chris, who is your favorite hobbyist? Trick question.
My favorite hobbyist would be you, Shane. I would say other names, but I don't want to really cause any trouble, so we'll just leave it. We have such a such a unique group. I mean, we're not all the same. I mean, Shane brought in north, south, east, and west, to tell you the honest to God truth. You know what I mean? And it's working out. And it's working out. I mean, it's taken 3-4 years now to get to the point we're at, but if it continues with the teamwork that we got going and the ideas that we're coming up with, I hope we get that footage.
Yeah.
You're off to a good start, that's for sure. All right, Chris Morello. Oh, I butchered that. Why doesn't Chris believe there isn't a paranormal connection?
I don't have any proof.
Good answer.
I'm
Good.
all evidence based. I don't
Yeah.
if I don't have any proof of the paranormal part, I can't say it's Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Just like I said before, if you're out in the woods, say you're out in the woods again looking for Goldilocks, and all of a sudden you hear this, you see something floating in front of you, and it speaks to you, and whatever happens, and you're going to assume that that's Goldilocks because you're out there looking for it, and that's what happens when you're out looking for Goldilocks. You get this stuff. The same thing with Bigfoot. You're out in the woods looking for Bigfoot. You see all these lights. You see these lights going on. So you think that they have to do with Bigfoot. But what if they're a ghost? You know what I mean? But what if there's something else that lives in the woods that's supernatural, or you don't know? You can't.
Yeah.
Well, until I have evidence of the supernatural, or I see them do something supernatural, then yes, I would believe it. But I need the evidence to for my sake. I need the evidence to move forward with that. And nothing to you guys, like I said, you guys can all believe whatever you want. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Felix says, "Hey Chris, how do you think the boogers are making the knocking sound?"
Uh I think it's a combination of things. I think they have different knocks for different things. I think they use hand claps. I think they use stick on trees. Um, I think they can do it with their mouth. I think they
Uh-huh.
can pop their mouth like that put your palm of your hand on your mouth and hit it real quick,
Yep.
that noise. So I think they can clap, use their mouth, and they probably knock on the trees. But again, I've never seen them do any of it. So I really I really don't know. I know something does it because I've heard it numerous times.
Right. All right. A good simple name here. Steve Terry asks, besides the night in your tent, have you experienced a feeling of terror for no apparent reason?
I get scared every time we go hiking at night in the 400. I don't like rocks being thrown at me while we're hiking down the trails. I get freaked out. Um, I was really freaked out the night that we saw the one walk for 10 minutes. I mean, he literally 10 minutes back and forth. We watched him. I got freaked. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the night. The day, I'll crawl into a nest. The
Uh-huh.
night, there's a whole different story for me. I mean, I I'm getting better though. This last trip, I was better than the one before. These guys get me calmed down a little bit, and now I'm seeing that they're not hurting us. They're actually, interacting with us. But the nighttime really does freak me out because with the thermal cameras, you can see them, you know that they're there, and it's just a whole different feeling. You're walking
Right.
down the trail and you're looking at a screen, and they're right there out to your right hand side. I get the willies.
Well, you you're kind of really saying something there because a good team of hobbyists that go out together, they lean on each other's strengths. And I think that when people do that, I think they have more success in the woods. Now, Tony from Fishing, Gaming, and Guitars asks, do you think you have ever been zapped with infrasound?
uh, I don't know. That's another tough question. Like I said, I've had a lot of weird stuff happen before, and I was with Larry one time, and we go to, like I said, we do the same pattern hike, but for some reason we both got off trail one time, but I couldn't say if that was infrasound or anything like that, but um, Yeah, I can't answer that one. I'm sorry. I don't know.
So it really hasn't happened to you.
No, no, I haven't lost. Like, I know where I am. I know, I have my bearings. Yeah. So I would have to say no.
All right. Bama Murdoch asks, how many times have you felt like turning around and kicking your shoes off and running for your life in a Bigfoot situation?
I have never once felt like running. I have always been scared to death, but I knew that's what I was there for, and I know that was the experience that I need to continue what I'm doing. So I have never wanted to run.
Well, that's something that if I've taken new people out, that I think it's our job to kind of coach them and let them know that prey runs and you don't want to be prey. And so
It might have been different if I was with other people or I was with myself, but being with the group of guys that I've been with when they're around, I have had that thought of running. I've shook.
Well,
oh,
Mark just snores.
I don't I don't know how many encounters I have slept through, Larry.
I can tell you because I was there.
Okay.
Well, no, if you're in the middle now, we're in the middle of the Ozark Mountains on a ridge at 2 o'clock in the morning. Where are you? You really got nowhere to run to.
Yeah, you just have to circle the wagons.
Right. We went up and down. We got our bearings. We were at a different spot one night. The second time when I was there, and Shane and we went up and down that mountain 3 times before we found our way off. And we got back up to the top of the mountain the third time, and Shane's like, "Turn that Flear on. I want to see what's going on around us." I said, "No, you're just going to get me off this mountain, and we're going to turn this Flear on. There's going to be about 40 of them around us, and then where do we go from there?" I said, "I'm not turning the camera on. Let's just go back down the mountain."
Sometimes you got to know when to say when.
Right. That was after we just caught him on Flear camera going the same direction we were going.
Right.
Okay. Shane Carpenter from Brokeback Mountain asks, who is the sexiest hobbyist you know?
Well, that would have to be.
Don't say Dan.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to think about that. The sexiest hobbyist I know. I don't know.
That's a good answer.
Yeah,
All right.
Don't you guys got like people that screen these questions?
No, not at all.
You're talking to them.
Here's the next one from Shane, and it's a good one.
Can we block him?
I guess our moderators could, but that wouldn't be nice. He said, did you wee a little bit when you got huffed at? Be honest.
When I got huffed at?
Yeah, when you were in the tent laying there,
Yeah, I already told the whole story. Where was he?
I guess he wanted to relive it again. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I already told that whole story, Shane. You must have missed it.
Okay, CD Squatcher. I'm not sure how this is wrote about. He was.
I'll read it.
Okay, you go ahead and read it.
He says you're alluding to a human-like sentence. Do you think that they are more human than primate?
I think, personally, I think they're more of a people, yes. I think they're more human than a primate. They're too well organized, they're too smart. They're masters of their domain, because if they weren't, we would catch them more often. I mean, they have to be organized. They just have to. They breed, We have small prints, we have large prints, we find kills, we find all this evidence that points to being organized, living,
Yeah.
breathing creatures. So I think they're more, I mean, appearance, more primate, I would gather. I mean, these guys are big and they ain't pretty. And so I would say intelligent, they're more closer to humans intelligence wise, but appearance, I would say more primate. That's how I would answer it.
Okay.
All right.
Your friend Shane ask it, but really, I want you to think about this because I want to know if he's kidding or talking about something that actually happened.
Okay.
But here's the question: why would you not turn on the thermal when we were quote unquote lost and the compass was spinning? Be honest. Could y'all not get a bearing with the compass?
No, but the compass was just we're trying to find our position. We turned the compass on, and the thing's spinning,
Oh,
just spinning. And then we got back. This was the third time we got. It was all right. You know what? It was 100 degrees out. This is the third time we've been back to the top of that mountain. Now this, like I just told you, we just had one on thermal. Another one was knocking on a tree to get our attention to draw away from this. We went in the same direction as the one that took off 3 times. We got back to the top of the mountain. The compass was working, and he wanted me to turn the thermal on. And no way, no way. Like I said, there was probably 40 of them sitting there, and I probably would have had a heart attack if I turned them on and seen that many of them. So that's why I didn't turn the thermal on that night.
whoa.
Well, that's a good reason.
Yeah, no, I get the willy. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the night.
I love it. I can't see or hear.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm telling you, 60 yards away, he seen Shane, pitch dark out. Shane reached for his duffel bag, and he went right behind a tree.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He seen Shane from 60 yards away. That was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he's peeking at us he thinks that we can see him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That to me, that's a clue about how nocturnal they are, and nocturnal animals have that vision that they can see at night a whole lot better than we can. So
right.
for me, that's that little nugget that's a clue, because I have seen that too. And so it's just something to throw in your Bigfoot box.
Yeah,
Pull out later.
Phenomenal eyesight at night.
All right, Mark, you can ask this next question.
Is it from Shane again?
Chris might not answer none of our calls ever again. He wants to know why you put the fan on your feet in the tent when you know they smell. And that's from Shane.
Yeah. Tell Shane that his feet ain't smell too good in that 105-degree weather either.
Okay,
all right.
We're at the 2-hour mark, and YouTube kind of slows us down on our bandwidth, so we'll try to go through these quicker. Debbie wants to know who that is behind you with the crazy eye. I think she's talking about the monitor. Maybe.
Yeah, there's a TV behind you, Chris.
Yeah, that's just me. My video's playing.
You see the eye?
It's spitting.
That's just
Yeah.
I'm trying to hypnotize everybody to watch my channel. Look into the spinning Berkshire Mountain Sasquatch. Subscribe.
All right. Mark, do you want to ask
Oh,
the next
is
question?
it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Shane wants to know why you wear your sunglasses at night. And I would just tell Shane because I'm a Corey Hart fan.
Yeah, no, I don't wear my sunglasses at night.
Matt Gower wants to know if you had any luck in the Heartland area close to the Barkhamstead Reservoir.
Or Campstead Reservoir. Yes, we are actually have had a lot of we've had some interactions up there. Yes. Yep, we've heard whistles, mouth pops, stuff like that.
All right.
Okay, our friend Bama Murdoch says, how long till you think Shane and Randy duct tape you to a tree with a football helmet on your head to attract a rock storm?
At Bama, he's got an imagination.
Yeah, that Bama does.
I'm never doing this radio show again. There's not a lot of love going on right now.
Well,
I think they would have done that the first night if they had to.
Well, hopefully it won't come to that.
Yeah, no.
Shane, I'm going to tell you, it has been
You mean Chris?
Yeah.
You said Shane.
I did what you did last week, called somebody by the wrong name.
Yeah. Poor Mark.
Chris, I'm going to tell you, it has been a breath of fresh air talking to you this past week and learning from you and the different things that you have been doing in your own personal research and collaborating with Shane and Randy and Dan. And we would like to just give you this opportunity for any final thoughts that you might have.
Any final thoughts? Let's see. Evidence will bring you to the truth. You can't hearsay. You can't put hearsay on the table and say, "Look here's a picture I took of the green forest. This is a face. I think this is a Bigfoot." That's not gonna. If you're out to prove existence, then that's not gonna get you anywhere. I mean, just be truthful to yourself. If you want to just go out there and experience them and not report them or do that. There's many people that are doing that, and I've heard some pretty cool stories. Like I said, like the older lady with them living on the farm and for years and years and years, and they come to the edge of her. There's just so many really cool stories out there, and if you want to just experience them for yourself, go experience them for yourself. You don't have to report it to anybody. We do it because we're out to prove existence and get these guys protected, and like I said, we're hobbyists, and this is our hobby, and this is what we love to do, and we would like to share our evidence with everybody. So follow your heart, be true to yourself, be true to your investigations, and work as a team, learn and live with each other. And I think this topic can go a lot farther, and I see that within the next 10 years, something really major happening, a really good breakthrough. So that's about all I got. Just be true to yourself, and if you got a hoax, don't hoax.
Well, that's words of wisdom. And Larry, do you have any final thoughts?
I just want to thank Chris for coming on. I can see the camaraderie he has with Randy and Shane, and I can tell they have fun while they're out there trying to prove the existence of this creature. And you've got to do that. You've got to intertwine a little fun into the seriousness of what you're doing. And we always try to do that ourselves. And I just want to thank you for coming on here and sharing your experiences and your knowledge. And I can tell you're an easygoing guy, laid back, because they like needling you, it looks like, a little bit.
Yeah, you noticed that I didn't do any needling. Wait till next time he's on.
Well, we do appreciate you coming on and sharing with us and living through all of Shane's questions. That is fantastic.
Hey, I got a quick question for you. You guys got Randy? Is Randy coming on shortly or soon? Or
Absolutely, he is booked. We're excited.
Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be a good show. If you guys want to really, I'm the rookie of the clan, so I can only share so much. But Randy is he's a wealth of knowledge, and it's a show that you guys don't want to miss. Believe me. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess my final thoughts is make sure that you check out the top of the comment section. It's pinned. Go to Chris's channel and subscribe. If you haven't seen Into the 400, then I've got a link to it. Go there, rent it, buy it. It's just pennies to rent it, really. And it is an awesome movie to watch and to learn from. So I just want to... Yeah.
And if you do go watch it and rent it, leave a comment and rate it. That helps them out.
Yeah,
good
please
point.
do that. Yeah, please.
Good point.
It's all evidence-based. It's no bells and whistles. We didn't even plan on this all happening. We thought maybe we would get maybe a tree knock or a distant vocal. We never planned on what happened. And we never planned on it continuing to happen. So we're very, very blessed with the situation at hand. And we treat it with total respect. I mean, we may joke around and all that, but we are definitely 100% professional when we're in the woods and 100% respectful of them. I mean, we're not jokesters. So right. I just wanted people to know that too.
Yeah.
Well, Larry, we've got a meet and greet coming up. Why don't you give us a few details? He raised his eyebrows at me.
Well, if COVID allows it, we're going to have a meet and greet at Land Between the Lakes on the Kentucky side at Colson's Campground. It's a group campground that we've reserved. And the only way that anything will change is if the entities that run LBL shut down the campgrounds again like they did. But it will be the weekend of Halloween. And we will provide a meal on Saturday night. And you are to bring whatever you need for breakfast, lunch, so on. We will have a good time. So just come on out if you can make it. And we'll have more information as it gets closer. But the weekend of Halloween is when we're planning on doing this. And that's in October, so there may be activity.
Like fawn activity.
Well,
Sorry.
Beast TV would like to welcome all of our new Facebook members. And we started this page to train and help people with analyzing audio, but it is evolved into much more than that. There is a wealth of information that you may find beneficial in our Files tab. And if you're interested in contributing to the Bigfoot community, we would be thrilled to show you our protocols and analyzing audio, and we could certainly use your help. And I saw tonight, right before we went on the air, that Bama Murdoch put about 40 pictures up there from the last time that we were there a couple of months ago. And so there's some there's always something to look at. So we welcome you to come check it out. We want to thank all of our new subscribers to our YouTube channel and our faithful followers. Also, be sure to check out the field evidence videos and check out our sister channel, Beast of the Woods. That's Larry's channel. We do these podcasts and videos for you. So if you want to help us out, subscribe, click the like button, ring the bell, and leave us a comment. Larry and I would like to thank Sally for sending us the questions from the chat room tonight, and thanks to all of our moderators for keeping our chat room kid-friendly. Thanks again to each of you for watching, and we will see you again. Same bat time, same bat channel. Night-night, footers!
This has been a Sawdust production.